From Tanglewood to Cait Fairbanks, from Luna to Shaq Fu, from the rise of Jackie, Desmond, and clone heroes to the 19th anniversary of the modern existence, to Sonic the Hedgehog Bania Gold Edition, and all that had come in between, this is the Royameadow I8 Year in Review. The following program was recorded on December 22 and 23 of 2018. Welcome to the program. I'm freelance entertainer Roya Rockwood. If you're watching this in our original local broadcast, you'll be happy to know that this will be put online in the form of a video commentary with some footage of me playing Sonic Adventure. And you'll probably love it too. It's the Knight's Pinball Table, and you also get to see what happens when you get 5,000 rings in Casinopolis. Hope you enjoy. If you happen to be watching this in its uploaded broadcast, welcome to the program. So the year of 2018. Words cannot put into fully explicit detail as to what has been truly going on. The best term to describe 2018 outright is brutal. There have just been a plethora of circumstances, a barrage of downs that have caused both me and virtually every single person that I know to have a rather depressing time this year. Some have been able to make it through, others, well, they're still going through their own fair share of burdens. And for some people, they feel as if there's no hope in sight. That hurts. It really does when I take a look and I feel that there's nothing that can be done about it. And that's actually part of the reason why I'm making this program. So that people can see, what I've gone through, but also at the same time, what have I been able to do throughout this year that's been able to make it feel a bit more lighthearted and good? So that's why I'm here today. The time of this recording is midnight on December 23. This is probably going to take... this will probably take about 45 to 50 minutes at worst, or maybe at minimum. I expect this to probably be an hour program by the time that we're done, but for the sake of making things a bit more bearable, we have some footage of me playing Sonic Adventure, specifically the Dreamcast Collection Remastered 2014 edition of Sonic Adventure DX. And that variant is being played with a good amount of Dreamcast conversion mods and some other things that make it a bit more, well, festive. That includes the Lantern engine, and of course the Pure Light engine, because you know me, I can't get enough of my own lighting engine. I'll get more into that later. And it'll also show you how to get all 5 ideas on the Knight's table, the Knight's Pinball Table, and also what happens if you get 5,000 rings in Casinopolis. That golden Sonic statue is canon. So with that said, let's begin. So, I'm just going to get all the bad news out of the way for now, because, that's the first thing that you do. You want to make sure that all the bad stuff is, taken completely off the table as early as possible. So, my life definitely has not been easy. I actually have been rather busy, and unfortunately, due to the amount of busy time I've had to spend, there's a lot that I haven't been able to do, most specifically entertainment. Back on March 23, my mother ended up having to suffer from a major slip on black ice that caused a critical injury to her leg. The injury was, for the most part, about the size of a bowling ball. She had to get immediate surgery in order to have it handled. And, for about 3.5 months, I basically was her caretaker. That's the best way for me to put it. And you know, it's not easy work. In any regard, it's not easy work. There are so many things you have to do. Some stuff I can't even get into proper detail in a broadcast such as this. But the time that she actually had to be away, you know, I was home alone for roughly, dang, how long is it? March 23 to April 25. That is, let's just round off and say 33, 34 days. There was actually a period of time where I actually ran out of food, and because we didn't really have many resources or rations here, I actually ended up starving for about 125 hours in the, I want to say like the end, like, yeah, one of the last days of March going into the beginning of April. 125 hours flat. The only things I was eating at the time, eating and drinking, was water, granulated sugar, specifically pure cane sugar, and peanut butter. That was not an easy task for me, and I don't think anybody in their right state of mind would try to last on that. Though understanding me, I'll do anything to survive. I ended up losing about 14 pounds from that, actually, so you know, it hasn't been easy. I definitely am suffering from fatigue at this point. I don't really feel the same at all. I've also been suffering from nosebleeds too. Every once in a while I would end up waking up with my right nostril having semi-solid blood, and I've had to, you know, have that completely blown out of my system. You know, it takes roughly about 10 minutes after you get out of bed, but still, I mean, it's not something you want to have to bear with. It's not something you want to have to live with and deal with every matter of days, weeks, or months, depending on how often this happens. Especially if you're in an area of your house that's like extremely dry and also gives you overexposure to heat. Speaking of heat, I better turn down my thermostat. Okay, there we go. Back to 68. And so while that was happening, I was also trying to do work on my Lenovo H5050, but the biggest issue that we had was we were overexposed to extreme heat here in Massachusetts. Virtually every single day from April to like mid to late October was... brutal isn't even the brunt of it. No, the brunt of it was flat out unbearable. And since, you know, my mother had to take my bed because she couldn't go up to the second floor, so I had to sleep in her bed. And as a result, you know, I was up there without any air conditioning. My body burned up like, it felt crispy every single time I woke up. And that ultimately made things brutal on my health, but it also did a number on my Lenovo H5050 desktop, which, as you know, has been the computer I've been using since late 2015, specifically December 28 of 2018. I mean, 2015, my bad. And I also never actually upgraded any of the hardware, so, you know, I was running on bare bones. The processor actually had an overheating issue, and my old Hitachi hard drive from the E-Machines computer I had been using since 2011, you know, since I never really shut the computer, since I got it, that hard drive actually has had some wear in it. Well, yeah, some wear. And because of recent updates to Windows 10, the way that it keeps shutting off the hard drive every once in a while has made it, it's definitely made it noticeably slower. So that's why this program actually had to be done on a completely new computer. I ended up getting a new computer in, I want to say late November, early December. It is a refurbished Hewlett-Packard Pavilion 590P0057C. And this hardware is actually pretty decent for what it's worth. I mean, for $449.97 at Micro Center, at the time of this recording anyway, you could get yourself a computer that has 16 gigabytes of RAM, a decent current era Seagate 1 terabyte hard drive. Instead of using the onboard graphics, it comes with a dedicated graphics card. It's the AMD Radeon RX 550. It's pretty on par with what you would expect from a computer such as this. And the processor is Intel Core i5-8400. It's a 6-core, 6-thread processor that's able to handle virtually all odds. And with it being able to run between 2.8 and 4 gigahertz, hey, that's fine by me. I'll take anything. I'll take anything I can get my hands on. So, you know, I'm fortunate that I can actually record at this quality now. But I probably wouldn't be able to do it as if it weren't for the help of my grandmother, who is actually currently recovering from complications from a series of strokes that she had between December 8 of last year and August 1 of this year. I've also had to take care of her since everything had gone down, especially after the major stroke had happened on August 1. So I've been, you know, my schedule's been crammed. I've barely been able to pump out anything. Heck, throughout, I want to say throughout all of Season 8 outright, only 30 programs were ever actually uploaded. And I actually have made a decent amount of other stuff that hasn't been released. So that'll all end up being released under Royameadow Modern Legacy, and wishfully some of the stuff that we made in Season 8 will come out in Season 9. But that's pretty much why I haven't been online, because there's just been too much here at home and with the family that I haven't been able to do anything elsewhere. And that's depressing. It definitely is. It's not easy, but the fortunate thing is that, you know, my mother's in good shape now. She's roughly, I'd probably say between 87 and 91% back to normal. Grandmother seems to be recovering good by the day, and, you know, everything else seems fine and dandy. But this has definitely done a number on me. And along with all the other stuff I've had to go through this year, be it my starvation issue during March and early April, abuse I've had to suffer from in times prior, or just anything else. It's astounding that I am still standing. There has just been too much for me to go through, and to still be here after all this time definitely shows how much stronger of a person that I have become. Like it or not, but I'm here to stay. That's fine by me. Okay, now that that's out of the way, Shaq Fu. Now, Shaq Fu was probably the biggest thing to come out of this year, even though it didn't really get that many views on YouTube. But it did have a good local presence, getting roughly, I want to say maybe about 1,000 and change in the local area, which was fine by me. It was actually my first major return to commentary ever since, you know, I haven't really done much since Q1 of 2017 in the field. But as I said before, that was mostly due to my workload having been, you know, kind of put in a serious constraint. Initially, Shaq Fu was recorded, I want to say, yeah, the footage of the game was recorded in January. I took 100 hours, non-stop, playing the story mode on Expert, then beating the duel mode on Expert, which took, as I said, it took 100 hours because I had to keep retrying until I got a no-def run, or at least a no-def run with double KOs. And, you know, that was fun. Then I had Shaq come over and do some commentary back in, what was it, March 6 and March 14. The only reason why I held off on uploading the commentary until June 4 and June 8 of 18 was mostly because I wanted to have this released in conjunction with the release of A Legend Reborn. And I just want to say right now, I am so happy that A Legend Reborn delivered on being a reboot of the franchise. Remember, A Legend Reborn is not a sequel. It never was and never will be. It is a sequel and a genre shift. A Legend Reborn, for those who are unaware, basically takes Shaq Fu, or at least what you know about it, and tosses the logic of what Delphine Software created out the window. The original Shaq Fu 2, which was supposed to come out in late 1995, early 96, which was supposed to be, it was supposed to be a Genesis / Mega Drive and Super Famicom title, that never came to be. So we ended up getting this as a consolation prize. The game was supposed to be... The game started development in 2014, had a few delays, and then came out in 2018, and for what it's worth, it's a superb brawler. Sure, it's not an ideal brawler for some people that might want a little better, or something a little more difficult, unless you're playing on hard. Ugh, the game is brutal on hard. And, you know, it's not Mother Russia Bleeds style difficult, fortunately. The only downside I felt, though, with A Legend Reborn was the fact that the game itself didn't have multiplayer. It doesn't allow you to play as both Shaq and Barack Obama at the same time. Yeah, that's right, you get to play as Barack Obama in this, in the DLC, Barack Fu, The Adventures of Dirty Barry. If you happen to have a console version of the game, if you purchased a physical copy of the game at a given point or another, or if you just happen to purchase the Steam version at some point, you would have ended up getting the Barack Fu DLC for free. It's kind of like how if you pre-ordered or got a first-run edition of the original Shaq Fu, specifically the Genesis and Super Famicom versions, you would have ended up getting a promotional CD that had the track Stand and Deliver. So it's kind of a nice throwback in that regard. And there's also a vinyl if you want to listen to the soundtrack. I definitely recommend that you go and get that. It's definitely worth your money. But if I had to say, you know, I'm actually happy that I recorded Shaq Fu, because this is a game that definitely needed some good attention. And there's still, how many parts? There's still at least, I want to say, 13 parts to go. Because I still have the 12 parts of dual mode, and then a full part of the tournament mode, which I'll save for the eventual Royameadow versus multiplayer-based program that I still have yet to actually do anything with. But that will be done at a better point in time. Either way, you know, I said we needed a good brawler, and I'm glad that we got that. I don't know what to expect, though, beyond this point, but wishfully, Shaq Fu: A Legend Reborn does get a sequel, as one of the developers told me directly on Twitter. More on that when the time comes, wishfully. But either way, the original Shaq Fu, in terms of its gameplay, definitely has held up well. But that only comes as somebody who... It only comes from somebody who actually knows what I'm doing. Because, I've been playing Shaq Fu for over 17 years, since 2001. And I've gotten used to the controls. In fact, the best way to play this game... Play it on a DualShock 2 or a DualShock 4. Play it in BizHawk, run it in BizHawk or Regen. You will never have a hard time. The only thing you might not get used to, however, is the actual game's latency issues, which don't even get fixed if you overclock the Mega Drive in Regen. So that's a situation in and of itself that would need ROM hacking in order to deal with. But who knows? Maybe somebody will deliver that. Maybe even with the the cut content. But that is another story for another time. So we'll go on to the next subject. The biggest thing that happened to this channel, at least within this year, sometime in May, I had noticed that this channel finally hit 250 subscribers. This does not count those that have deactivated their account that still are technically subscribed. But I mean 250 active subscribers. This ended up turning into a series of programs that have a splash screen at the end, and you might know it too. It is called Quarter K. Quarter K meaning quarter kilo or quarter thousand. Quarter of 1,000. A vehicle decided to honk their horn at this hour? Ugh. But I digress. So Quarter K is pretty much exactly what you think it is. It is a celebration of this channel hitting 250 subscribers, and until this channel reaches 300 subscribers, you will keep seeing the Quarter K splash screen at the end of every program. What can I say? What can I say? The celebration just keeps going on. But no, seriously, if I had to say, I do feel that this took too long. This channel, including the programs that have been either put as unlisted, private, or deleted outright, either due to copyright or fear of copyright issues, this channel has well over 750 programs. And I don't say that loosely. 750 is a lot over 8 years, especially when you consider the fact that this channel has been around for over 8 years and has only reached the 250,000 mark. You know, but it's kind of like what John Ortiz of Some Call Me Johnny, the Super Gaming Brothers, and Brain Scratch Com said. It's like, basically he said, if there are things going on that you basically don't see yourself really rising up as fast as you would anticipate, just keep at it. Just keep tossing something, and wishfully, you know, you'll end up getting that following that you're looking for. And in my case, you know, I'm just humbled that anybody would even watch this, whether they like what I see or are indifferent. And, you know, that's the least I could anticipate. You know, I'm not anticipating more than what I'm trying to expect. What can I expect? It's YouTube, after all. We all know how YouTube works. Sometimes you get what you want, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you can upload something that's a masterpiece and it won't go popular for years on end. Heck, there are actually some videos that didn't go viral for 10 years, and now they are at the top of their game. They are showing themselves in ways we have never seen before, and it's astounding. So the best way I can put it in my case, or at least in the case of this channel, is that I'll still keep producing material so long as at least one viewer enjoys what they see. And honestly, this channel actually did pretty well in fiscal year 2018. In my case, in the case of this channel, fiscal year 2018 was October 23 of 2017 to October 22 of 2018. We ended up getting over 36,000 views. And that's actually pretty good when you consider the amount of views that was obtained in fiscal year 2017, October 23 of 16 to October 22 of 17, which was, I want to say, roughly about 27 and change, right? Yeah, the people in the projection room are telling me it was around 27,000 that we got in fiscal year 17, and that's actually what I said in the ratings report too. So either way, it definitely shows that yes, there is a clear-cut demand for the programming that is on this channel. And also, you know, I have to actually thank some of the older stuff that was uploaded too, such as the S Factor 2013 Need New Passwords. For those that are asking, do not ask me anymore about the character unlocks. Most of those are still only in the quote-unquote testing phase. The only characters you can actually play as are Sonya, Sonya, Silver, Scourge if you use a save state or a specific feature, and Blaze if you use a specific feature in the options menu, or if you use a Game Genie code. Other than that, there is really nobody else at this point in time. Wait for the definitive edition, and possibly when it has lock-on technology with Sonic the Hedgehog Extended Edition. More on that later, or unless if you decide to watch the Sonic Hacking Contest 11 results show, where both Aquaslash and Sinasu explain it far better than I can at this given point in time. Basically, Extended Edition was supposed to have lock-on technology, and that's how you'd unlock Sonic, Miles, Knuckles, and a few of the other characters, as well as probably do some stuff with the level maps, which actually have themes in the S Factor 13. But more on that later. More on that at a better time, just not now. Either way, back to what I was saying though regarding this channel hitting 250 subscribers. You know, here's to 250, and here's to the next hundreds more and thousands more. Here's to the many seasons of material to come, as it says in the screen. Oh, jeez. So, of course, 2018 ended up being the silver anniversary for anybody that was born in 1993. And this includes 4 people that are a part of the administration. This includes Gabriel Paulino of Neo Generation 1, Doug Young II of Doug Riss and the head administrator of Royameadow Generation 2, as well as co-head administrators of Royameadow Generation 2, Leona Marie and Kelsey Evans. Most notably in recent time, you might remember back on June 8 of 2018 that I had uploaded a station ID, both a widescreen and an ultra-widescreen variant for Lena in celebration of her 25th anniversary. That station ID was originally intended to be a part of a channel concept that Lena and I had talked about back in 2014 and 15. Because, you know, Luna used to have an old channel, Luna Chu, here on YouTube. Sometime in the early 2010X decade, I want to say it was around a time where Jamie Clement of Clement's Corner / Clement J64, some of you may remember, he did a video log about, it was about YouTube's change in policy at the time, where you couldn't have more than one channel as a part of your main channel, but you still could add new accounts. This was in 2011. So as a result, Clement's music channel ended up going down, but his main account, Clement J642, still stayed up. And I think that's ultimately what happened in the case of Lena, because her channel no longer exists. So we talked in 2014 and 15 about the concept of making a new channel outright with new programming. And one of the things I promised to do was work on wallpapers, the station ID, a whole bunch of concepts for mixes, music, and whatnot. And I basically have a lot of material in reserve that she and I could pretty much use together in the event that we actually ever decided to reunite and do any work. She and I, however, have not been on talking terms since at least April of 2017, but for the most part, even despite that, Lena is still pretty much one of the core reasons why this channel even still exists, or even why I still exist outright. Because back in 2010, around the time that she and I first met, I actually had a lot of troubles that were going down, and ultimately, you know, this was while Royameadow was still a non-online thing. It was, for the most part, still confined to local entertainment. And I was just going through a lot of hectic times at that point, and I honestly wanted to end the group. Through Luna's help, however, that didn't happen. We ended up basically meeting her ended up allowing me to keep my sense of dignity and motivation intact. And honestly, that's pretty much what has kept me going for the past 8 years and change, along with the help of other people. But Luna has been basically the core impact for me since we first started talking back then. At this point, October 8th of 2018 marks the 8th anniversary since she and I had first met. And even though pretty much her presence on this channel anyway has mostly been confined to the station ID, and also to the fact that she shows up in the upper right hand corner of every single splash screen that we've done for the loading screens for Royameadow 18's Astral Boston template. Yes, these station IDs and splash screens actually do have names. As well as her sitting on the duck in the modern template, Modern 1 and Modern 2 of Royameadow 17, and, well, the rest all speak for themselves. You know, she basically has been a major part of my life, and without her, I don't know if I'd be alive today. I don't know if this channel would even still exist. I don't know if, basically, my motivation to do the work that I do would even still be present. So even though she and I have not interacted since last year for... Man, how much is that? April to May, June, July, October, August, September, October, November, December, plus 12. 20 months and change. Oh my goodness. Either way, I still have to thank her personally for being the reason why I'm still around. Life simply has not been easy without her presence, but with her impact still fully intact, I can't really say much of anything bad, even though I know that it's not been an easy thing. It hasn't been an easy time for either of us, be it together or apart. There are many reasons for that, but I won't get into those details in this particular program. So with that, it's time to go over to a much lighter note. Tanglewood! Now, Tanglewood has been in development since 2012. The game came out officially in August of 2018, and right off the bat, I did a real-time speedrun for that game and got world record, 102:15.85. I actually don't know if that record has been beaten, so, yeah, I think I hold the record for at least the launch build's emulated run on Gen's re-recording. At least as of the time of this program. Now, Tanglewood, for those who are unaware, is basically it's a platform title. Platform title made by Matt Phillips of Big Evil Corp. And I love the way that this is handled. In the best way to put it, it's a cinematic platformer, but it's not your typical cinematic platformer. Because unlike cinematic platformers, this game doesn't really use digitized graphics, despite the fact that all these seem to really be, they look like they were pixelated versions of hand-drawn graphics, though I know that these were all drawn by hand in pixel form. And honestly, I love what I see. It is a bit basic in some ways, especially some of the background art, though I know that will be optimized when the Dreamcast and HD versions come, so nothing to worry about. You know, you got things such as the Deject, which I like to pronounce the D of. You got Mini Nim, also known as Echo. You got the Big Enos Worm that looks like a Leviathan coming out of the ground in Chapter 7. And the many things you have to do in order to get through this game, for its launch price, it is worth it. Especially knowing that it comes with the PC version and also the ROM if you want to just put that, say, in an EverDrive, or if you want to make your own custom cartridge, despite the fact that there are physical versions of the Genesis and Mega Drive version out there. And one of the biggest things that probably caught me off guard was the fact that this game was made on one of those Mega CD development kits. It's basically the console is both a Mega Drive and a Mega CD. I'm not sure if it's based on the European or the Japanese version. Likely it's based on the Japanese version, but I can't be sure exactly. No, I think it was built on the European variant. I think there is a Japanese version of that kit, though. And that developer console basically was what we saw for at least the past 3 years. I ended up being introduced to Tanglewood back in 2016. I ended up speedrunning the Kickstarter demo, which, to my knowledge, I still have the world record of, which I think is 6:59:37 or something around that time. Amazingly, I was able to do that in under 7 minutes, any percent. That was not easy, mind you. But everything about that game just cries out, we need more cinematic platformers. And this is especially in a time where we have Prince of Persia, the granddad, the patriarch of... oh my goodness. But nah, I think the granddad of cinematic platforming works. That title is turning 30 in 2019. And Tanglewood is exactly what we needed at a time like this. Especially knowing that cinematic platformers have not been, as prominent since, say, the 90s. Back in the day, we had Prince of Persia 89, Another World, and Flashback: The Quest for Identity. Those were the 3 big ones of the time. And there haven't been a lot of games since then that have really been able to capture the audience. Fade to Black was okay for what it was on DOS and the PSX, which is, again, the sequel of Flashback. Heart of the Alien, which is the sequel of Another World, that did its own thing, but the fact that it's confined to Sega CD and it has never gotten a port is flat out disturbing. Prince of Persia remake for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. Still have yet to play it, but I'm sure it's pretty decent. The many Prince of Persia sequels, but that's another story in and of itself. Except for the Shadow and the Flame Prince of Persia 2, that one was pretty decent too. But the fact that we really only have it on console and Xbox is kind of disturbing as well, especially since nobody really has the original Xbox nowadays. Or barely anybody. Flashback 2013 by Ubisoft and a good amount of the developers of the original Flashback, that did good in its own right, but it's not fully superb to what people would have anticipated. And there's just so many other things, too, that make the cinematic platformer what it is, but at the same time, an underrated gem. So for Tanglewood to basically pick up the slack where all the other games in recent time have not been able to. Oh, what about PID? Yeah, that's right. Tanglewood is probably the best game that we've had since either the 2013 Flashback or PID. PID was decent. If you haven't gotten PID yet, get it for the PC. You'll thank me later. But still. Wishfully, Tanglewood ends up getting a sequel, and we'll end up getting more cinematic platformers. It's a title that's worth the investment, and something that I hope that everybody starts looking into. Truly a story to be told. So some of you that have been viewing this channel since about February of this year will know that I have started making my own Clone Hero charts. And a lot of people might be curious, what is Clone Hero? Well, created by Strylane, I want to say in the past matter of years. I don't know exactly how early this is. Maybe 2013, if not 2015 or earlier. But Clone Hero is basically a flat-out port of the Guitar Hero gameplay formula. In this case, I don't know if it's supposed to be based on Guitar Hero 3 or Warriors of Rock. Or even 5 for that matter, even though it uses 5's interface. And it's completely on the Unity engine. This has allowed for basically virtually any kind of controller, be it a DualShock 2, an Xbox 360 or PlayStation 2 World Tour Kramer, the Guitar Hero Live Guitar. You can even play the game on your own keyboard. Assuming that you have a good amount of key rollover. I'd recommend at least 26 key rollover or better. Even though you only need 5 key. But that's beyond the point. Up to this point, we've been wanting to have an easier way to make Guitar Hero tracks and also play them on the PC, especially since Guitar Hero Live bombed in the way that it did. So for Shrilane and company to work on Clone Hero, and basically optimize the formula of the way that the game played, and also optimize some of the ways that the gameplay engine functioned, it really shows how much this community has been well driven. You know, we have Moonscraper, which is basically the new way to make charts. And while I have wanted to make more charts, I do feel that something such as Moonscraper is more efficient. Is it perfect? Oh, no, not by any means of the word. It's not optimal, but it's as good as it gets for the time being. And, you know, I've grown to learn about the people who have worked on stuff, who have basically played songs in the scene, or basically in the Guitar Hero community for roughly a decade. You know, you got Leaf Green HD, you got Alec of Asai 28, you got Kai Casey of Darkly in Darkness, you got Randy Ladyman, Frosted GH, Jason Paradise, you name them. Everybody in the book that has been a part of this scene for years went over to Clone Hero. Sure, some of them still play Guitar Hero 2 on the PC, or 3, or Warriors of Rock in the rare instance that they do, but still. The custom Guitar Hero scene is on the rise. And I hope that I'll be able to work on more charts in the next season, as well as, in Season 9 of this channel, and in the many seasons to come. Though, as I said, it is not easy to do, just because of how much you actually have to take into doing this. Like, for example, when I did the Jackie Desmond Rainy Days Sampler A video a while back, around the beginning of Season 9's launch, actually, that took me roughly an hour to do both the original chart and the overchart. And bear in mind, that's just for a minute, roughly a minute of music. Imagine if this were, say, a 14-minute track like Solus 4, or close to an 18-minute track like Solus V. Wait, no, I think Solus 4 is about 12 minutes, right? No, actually, now I think of it, it might be 14 if you try to do a mashup mix of it with Rapper's Delight, which, mind you, you cannot mash up Rapper's Delight and Solus 4, because Rapper's Delight has a horrible beat inconsistency in its unabridged form. The song was done completely in one take, and that's why it has that problem. I counted the beat patterns. It doesn't work. And bear in mind, the time signature is supposed to be on par with Solus 4, but it's unfortunately not optimized. It really isn't, even when synchronized. But as I said, custom chart making is not so easy. But when you know what you're doing, you could probably get a good amount of stuff out of this. But from the way I see it, though, wishfully, things such as Clone Hero and Moonscraper are enhanced and optimized by the point that we reach the end of the decade, so that certain things such as maybe sound-based recognition of note creation can be done, and just other things that could make the overall experience that much better. It's good as is, but I know that we can go even further. So we'll see how things go down. We'll definitely see how things go down. I'll keep following the streams. I'll probably join the Discord if I'm actually in the mood to. Seriously, I cannot use Discord. Real-time interaction with tens of people at once is not my thing. But either way, here's to Shrilane and the crew. I hope you guys actually make this title that much better. And we'll see how things go in the years to come. Definitely. The next big thing that probably happened to the group outright is Royameadow 19th anniversary. And 19th anniversary actually did have some sort of celebration. It wasn't big. It wasn't anything, major, but Some people might have noticed on Twitter and elsewhere, yeah, Twitter, DeviantArt, and elsewhere, that I uploaded a series of hand statues. Of course, it's just photography of my right and left arms with the palms completely out, specifically the right palm. Yes, that is the 7 hand that I keep speaking of. This is also known as the simian line. Now, I am actually somebody who has the simian line on both hands. It is extremely rare if you have this. I want to say only about 10 to 13% of the planet actually has one of the 7 hands on either hand. The one that you see in this particular wallpaper here is my right hand. And a lot of people have wondered, what the duck is that? What the duck is the 7 hand? Well, I'll tell you. The 7 hand in this case, if you ever go to a fortune teller and you have this simian line, it can indicate, you know, long to limitless life. It can indicate high prosperity and wealth, popularity in virtually any form, but mostly good. But what I have also learned is that people with my kind of palm have a lot of hardships. And one of the other things too is, like, depending on if you have a curve above or below the simian line, I think if it's above, it mostly affects your mind, but if it's below, it mostly affects the heart or something around it. It's either that or it's flipped around. I would need to double check the original article on that topic. But back to Royameadow 19th anniversary. I created this group back on October 2 of 1999. Originally as a concept, I was brought around. Everybody in the room was basically like, make a concept of, write down a concept or just speak about what you would want to do. And the one thing I said that I wanted to do in my life is, I was rather intelligent for my time. And the thing I basically said was that I wanted to basically see, my region of Massachusetts, in this case Mattapan and Dorchester, have a high to optimal form of entertainment that you don't normally see elsewhere. And so that's basically how Royameadow was created. And since then, it has, for the most part, on a local scale, been the equivalent of a poor man's PBS. We only run on donations, but we'll take anything we can get in terms of entertainment. So long as you can actually make something and make it decent, I'll present it. If it needs any editing and optimization, you send it to me. I'll present it once everything is done. And since I now have a new computer I can work with, hey, your work can get done and optimized in a flash. I don't even need to do too much. That is how dedicated I am to my own people. And honestly, the fact that there would even be people who would focus on this group in any form is well beyond me. Sure, I may be the only person presenting stuff on this channel, but it's better than nothing. So to that I say thank you for still watching, and here's to the many more years to come. I'll definitely have something in store for the 20th anniversary on October 2 of 2019, but we'll get to that when the time comes. Now for the thing that has basically taken up the bulk of the view count for Royameadow 17 and 18, at least when it comes to anything based on gaming. Sonic the Hedgehog Bania Gold Edition. Yes, it is pronounced Bania, not Bania, as many people have assumed. No, it is pronounced Bania, like Kenny Bania, the Seinfeld character of the same name. You know, that's gold, Jerry! Gold! There have been a lot of questions about exactly what this mod is about. For the most part, Bania GE is exactly what you think it is. It is a demonstration of what RSDK can do on a graphical forefront, hence the reason why the digitized graphics promotional even exists. But for the most part, Sonic the Hedgehog Bania Standard Edition, in this case, the original album, it was a mashup album. It was actually the first major mashup album that I did in a long time, outside of the Roya Love Mixes series. I want to say it was the first major mashup album that I did since 2011, actually. And when I think of it... No, since 2012, because of the Speed This Factory Chip Mix series. But when I think of it, you know, there's a lot of things that we still don't really know about what to do in Mania and Mania Plus, mostly because it is still a young game. A lot of people at the hacking contest, specifically the staff and judges, were curious about something that had come up regarding compatibility issues. And I know that the folks on the Discord also mentioned this as well. Bania GE is being worked off of a specially modified sonicmania.exe file of version 103.829. This specific executable is based off of a hybrid of the retail and the cracked version, meaning that no matter what I do, it cannot be worked with any mod loader. Any version of Main Memory's mod loader will not boot on this thing. I keep getting a message that tells me to update to the most recent version of the mod loader, but even if I do that, which is the Mania Plus mod loader, it won't do anything. And when I end up working off of Mania Plus for Sonic the Hedgehog Bania Pure Gold Edition, it will be worked on that same hybrid file, that same hybrid executable, only in Mania Plus form. Thus meaning I have nothing I can do with the mod loader, hence the reason why you are given a bulk RSDK file that you replace in the root folder for. Hey, I know that this might be brutal for some gamers, but it's the only way that I see fit to be able to give this game absolute maximum compatibility, especially once I port over vanilla Bania GE over to revision 103.831 and 103.919, as well as if there is a revision of Mania Plus down the road. Now, for those that are curious as to why Mania Plus hasn't been modded in the case of Pure Gold Edition on my end, I cannot run Mania Plus without the big lag issue that everybody's been suffering from because of Denuvo version 4 revision 9. Even though, yes, I do have the cracked version of Mania Plus as well, and it has the same issue. The reason for that, though, is because version 4 revision 9 of Denuvo, unfortunately, it butchers the menus. In fact, when I tried to start up the game, it took me 131 seconds. I counted exactly 131 seconds to just boot up the game after running it as an administrator and selecting the menu option to hit and to run the program. After that, it took me roughly about 2 to 3 minutes just to get to the main menu, and then the game crashed. So pretty much, I can't do anything with Mania Plus in its current form. If you can properly crack Denuvo version 4 revision 9 to work in the same way that it does with version 4 revision 5, which is used in the original PC version of the 2017 versions of Mania, then come back to me at a later point. Don't expect a Mania Plus version of this mod at any given point in time. Also, for the one person that said, or few people, that said that Bania GE's usage of digitized graphics is a creep show, clearly you don't know what I've been doing. That person that's in the logo screen tightening his headband like Rambo, that is me. That was done as part of the photo shoot for Royameadow 19, and you'll probably understand what I'm talking about when the station ID comes out. It's a shot-for-shot remake of a certain Japanese brawler from 1994 that you'll probably get used to when the time comes. The people on the boat, if you have yet to play Flashback: The Quest for Identity, I suggest that you do so. The people on the boat are Conrad Hart, the main character of the game, in the dead center, And the two on the side, oh, those are some of the, I forget, are they the morphs? Or are they some of the soldiers on Earth? I would need to look back into that. But either way, now you know who's who. I will not say anything more on the subject, so you can can it. But either way, those same people also said the Bania GE wasn't a sleeper success. A sleeper success is a work that gets some form of attention and or positive reception without virtually any promotion nor endorsements. Bania GE, when it first came out on November 7 of 2017, it ended up getting north of 125 downloads, which at the time was rather big for a decent B-list Sonic the Hedgehog Bania mod. And in the case of the 2018 build, the digitized graphics promotional, when combining the material from the nightly build, which also is the same build at this point in time, that had 100 downloads already going into the contest. So with Bania GE as an Expo entry, Sonic the Hedgehog Bania Gold Edition now has roughly, I think, 675 downloads, 260 of those being from the contest week alone. That's more than double of what I got last year. Which gives me a clear-cut attention that yes, there is a clear-cut demand for this mod. Sure, it's still in the very experimental and testing phase. Yes, I'm still working on mashup mixes for this thing. Yes, I'm still trying to figure out how exactly digitized graphics can work in every individual level without ultimately butchering the layout design of the game and having to rework everything from scratch. That is something that will all be handled at a better time and when the time is proper. But for now, though, enjoy it for what it is. It's a multimedia project that will just keep on going. Nobody will ever discourage me into what it can truly become and what it will. Enjoy it for what it is, or don't enjoy it at all. Don't play it. If you don't like what you see, don't play it. Don't say a thing. But if you like what you see, come on. Give a brother some love. I can say that I am black. Yes, I found it officially. Yes, according to my ancestry, I am black. But I'm also majority Greek, German, Polish, 3% Japanese, as I've said before, 2% Native American, and the rest all speak for itself. I'm white, I'm black, I'm Asian, Native American, Pacific Islander, and everything else in between. Case closed. And at this point, I think the last thing that's pretty much to mention is the rise of a certain mashup album I've been working on since December 5 of last year. You've been seeing a lot of you've been seeing Clone Hero charts of it. You've been seeing original programs that use her music. You have been seeing MVs. This is Cait Fairbanks, Healing Echoes. Cait Fairbanks, Healing Echoes. All these mashups and more to come. The legendary Cait Fairbanks and Healing Echoes. It's not a goodbye, it's a warm welcome. Healing Echoes is possibly the one thing I was not anticipating would actually get some form of attention, but it is something that I wanted to do, especially knowing that Cait's work has not been properly archived in the best of ways possible. Unfortunately, virtually all of Cait's a cappella-only tracks don't exist online anywhere. And if you can find an instrumental on The Young and the Restless, There's an instrumental of With Me, and currently, as of the December 21 episode that aired on Friday in Canada, there's an instrumental version of Joy to the World, both of which you could only get proper if you decided to download the episodes in 5.1 or 6-channel surround sound, which you can't do at this time. In fact, none of the tracks that Cait has released in any form have surround sound compatibility or capabilities. So as a result, here I am many months later, still waiting for Cait to actually release her tracks in surround sound or with studio acapellas and instrumentals so I could keep working on these mixes. But no, for what it's worth though, you can download Healing Echoes down in the description. You'll find that it is, for what it's worth, it's a 9-track album. But it's a decent 9 tracks at that. And the fact that you could mix these tracks with anything spanning from 1955 to now, it is astounding as to what Cait can truly do. I love this woman. People who know me know that I love Cait Fairbanks' music. I can't get enough of this woman, seriously. She is a great actress, and she is an astounding singer. Maybe somewhere down along the way, if she and I ever actually did a collab, hey, I'd be all down for that. Because sampling is where I thrive, and to be able to make a work with Cait that works solely on samples, man, that would definitely blow my mind. But I would be able to go through the times a happy man. Can't get enough of that woman, seriously. But enough about me bragging about Cait. Here's what the album delivers. As I said, there are 9 mashup mixes spanning from December 5 of 2017 going all the way up to, dang it, when did I finish Fairness in Rockford? Let's see. Type in Rockford in VDJ, and November 15. Literally the day that Bedford came out, I made a mashup mix right away. It's a techno mix. You're gonna love Fairness in Rockford. You'll also love the original Bedford as well. There are 3 music videos that I made for certain tracks are available. The Vegeta bass, when you listen to Phil Collins, but also love Cait Fairbanks, is also put in it. There are 15 Guitar Hero tracks, 7 for Object With Me, and 8 for How Could a Rip Feel So High Quality. There are also a plentiful amount of developer wallpapers, and the commercial that you saw earlier in this program is a shot-for-shot remake of Black Box's Dreamland album ad from 1990. So you put all that together, and, well, you get possibly one of the biggest celebrations of Cait Fairbanks that has ever been uploaded at this time. And, I will be continuing this project deep into 2019. I'll probably release the extended version, the definitive version of the album sometime, air bubble came up, sometime in November. But with a lot of bonus content. The name of it will be called Healing Echoes DX. And Healing Echoes Deluxe will have some mashup mixes, some extra mashup mixes, at least 4, which will up the track count to 13. If I have enough resources and enough music to work with, I will probably up that number to 21. I'll make 11 more tracks as opposed to 4, but we'll see how that all goes down depending on how much I can actually pump out and restructure if deemed necessary. There will be some more MVs for certain tracks. There will be a bulk load of more Clone Hero charts, and there will even be an exclusive audio preview of what to expect once Cait starts working more under the Guinness or Guinness name. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that, but once she starts making more tracks under that name, the biggest thing that you'll be expecting is a mashup mix set called Fairness. Fairnesse. The Nesse also being how Ginesse or Ginesse, or how that is supposed to be spelled. I think it would pronounce. I think it's Ginesse, maybe. Either way, Fairness will be the new era of Cait. Healing Echoes is at least 2014 to 18. This includes anything that will feature her stuff from Heathers. Heathers the musical, most specifically. You'll see more of those mixes show up in Healing Echoes DX. But again, this is probably one of the this is possibly the largest project that I have done this year, and it's definitely something that I do feel is the one that deserves the most attention. Hence why, even though I'm only giving it about 7 minutes of commentary worth, it's still something that I think the people will want. It's something that I do feel that a lot of people will enjoy, and if you enjoy it, hey, feel free to toss a like, or feel free to toss your own opinion in the ring. I'm not usually one to ask for likes, that's not me. I'm just that neutral dude. I'm just that neutral guy that says, anything goes, really. But still, either way, you can download the album in the description as mentioned before. Hope you enjoy it. You'll need Windows RAR in order to run it, and you might need something such as VLC Media Player to run the MVs because they're all in WebM format for compression purposes. But other than that, I think you'll be fine. And now we are at the end of this primary commentary, so now comes not the closing statements, but how I do feel the outlook for the next year will be. Because honestly, I don't know what to anticipate from Season 9. But I will tell you this. As you may have noticed, throughout all of Royameadow 18 and all of fiscal year 2018, basically nearing the end of Royameadow 17 going all the way up to now, there has been not one single program to be in standard definition, 480p or less. The last program to be released in standard definition for file size reasons was FFFCEA:00, the almost definitive way to play Chaotix. If you don't know what that program is, basically what it is shows raw footage of me playing Chaotix without the combo ring system. Some people on Sonic Retro have been asking about that, and that's basically what you need to see. If you want to enjoy that, feel free, it's in the description. Or you can just check the channel at any given point in time. I think it's available in the Royameadow Archives playlist if you're curious. But since then, everything has been in HD. Initially, I'd anticipated that Shaq Fu would be the last commentary on this channel to be uploaded in HD, or last major program outright to be released in HD because of compression issues. And for the longest time, that was believed to be true, but you notice I kept uploading HD programming. And you have to bear in mind, at the time I was running on just the Seagate hard drive and the Hitachi hard drive. The Seagate hard drive came with my Lenovo H5050, that's roughly about 900 gigabytes and change. And my Hitachi hard drive is roughly 584 gigabytes. Now, of those two hard drives combined, I only had about maybe 14 to 40 gigabytes available come the end of November of 2018. Bear in mind, this was even after I had to, get rid of some software, compress the file sizes down with Xmedia Recode. Xmedia Recode, really great accessory if you really want to convert your stuff. If you down convert it into WebM format and keep the bitrate between 2 and 3000, you'll always have an easy time. The file size will be 70% less, roughly 70% less than what it initially was in MPEG-4 format when rendered in Magix Vegas Pro 14 or 16. In fact, I actually still have to use Magix Vegas Pro 14 because it's the only editor that at this time I can use that still renders in 60 frames per second. Not this 59.94 frames per second crap that you see with version 15 and 16 that Magix has been doing, which drops a frame every 16 seconds or so. I don't like that. I never liked that. I was never a fan. But as I said, you know, hard disk space is part of the reason why I didn't really do much with HD. But, you know, now that I have about 300 gigabytes to spare, thanks to switching to the Pavilion's new Seagate, since I have technically 2 terabytes to work with, quote unquote, you know, I will be mostly doing all of the programs in this upcoming year in HD. All of the stuff for Royameadow Modern Legacy, which is anything from 1997, actually, no, 1991. Because there are some things that some of my colleagues have done deep back into 1991. This includes family members that have also done stuff for the channel too. From 1991 to 2018, there will be a lot of stuff that'll be re-uploaded and remastered into HD in 60 frames per second as deemed necessary. They will also each have their own unique logos. Royameadow 19 will also be the last year to have a unique logo, at least based on years, because once we start going into Royameadow Generation 4 in 2020, at the very beginning of 2020, January 1, we'll end up just using a, you know, preset logo that is made specifically for that generation, or if ever come across the ability to actually, you know, render my own original drawing, my original concept art, and turn that into the official logo, but more on that later. But with Season 9 as a fully HD season, I think that will change a lot of things. And because I'm using things such as frame interpolation to up the frame rate from whatever it was natively at up to 60 frames per second, and also with a resource such as the PureLight engine. The PureLight engine is basically an alternate way to give you the high dynamic range or HDR imaging experience without the need of resources such as what your graphics card can do, or with a resource such as Dolby Vision. No, that's not, you know, I'm not a fan of the way that those work, because yes, even though those give you the 16 million color palette, there's still some other issues that come with those. The fortunate thing in my case with the PureLight engine is that, you are given film grain, but that helps in optimizing the quality. High dynamic range works best in film quality, and that's why the film grain is present, especially in a music video such as Forever Fighting Young and Flying, where it is noticeably best. And also in the first program that I used for the PureLight engine, Mona Lisa Saga Remastered, which features the first 3 tracks that were released by Pure Sound / Famer Juliet when they started up. You know, I've known those 3 for a long time. Caleb Michelle, Jay Forte, and Nova. You know, they're great people. If you ever listen to their works, you'll enjoy it. Dreams of Reality Trilogy, listen to it. Everything that they've ever done, worth the listen. I cannot stress that enough. But as for anything else, you know, Royameadow 19, because 2019 is the 20th anniversary year, I'm not exactly sure as to how much new programming there will be as opposed to revisits and remasters of old content with new commentary if deemed necessary. I'll see how that all goes down along the way, but until I get an external hard drive, it'll mostly be confined to new programming, except where applicable. But in closing, now we can get to the closing statements. 2018 has had a lot of ridiculousness to it. Some people have said that, this year is probably, the saddest one that they've had. In fact, right now we're currently in a situation here in the U.S. where the government is partially shut down. Over 800,000 jobs are non-functioning. The Bunker Hill Memorial in Charlestown can't be visited to. JFK Library is closed until the shutdown is over. So basically, people basically, quote-unquote, lost their jobs before Christmas. The stocks had the Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and Standard & Poor's 500 and 600 had some of their worst experiences since at least 2011, if not 2008, which really makes me worry when the it really does make me worry what will happen when the market opens up again on the 24th. Does it open on the 24th? Is that a work holiday? Either way, I don't know how things will turn out this week, if at all. Other people have just had other issues too. Some people have lost some good friends, they lost some family members. And in some cases, we actually ended up losing a few members of our own on our end. Some that have known me for at least the past 6 years that we ended up losing due to either a vehicular accident or something else. It simply has not been an easy time. Not one single bit. But for all of us who are still standing, persevere. That is the best word I can say at this time. Persevere. Keep on fighting. Because, hey, we all made it this far. There is nothing we cannot do. And, I could say that for anything regarding if it's, social matters or business, family, politics, global welfare, even. Anything goes at this point. But do I anticipate that things will have a much brighter outcome come the end of next year? I personally do feel that. And I hope that all of you do too. Anybody who watches this video up until the end, I hope that you do see a brighter outcome for 2019. Regardless of what has happened between 2016 to now. Or maybe even 2008 to now. Or maybe even deep into the, for those of you who are deep into your 50s or maybe 90s and you just so happen to find this program. If you've been suffering your entire life, I have a good feeling that 2019 will deliver to you far better outcomes. And I think another thing too is that, Venus and Mars, they don't have a retrograde next year, so that actually might play a factor in this too. I can only imagine what will come out of the 2019 horoscope. I mean, heck, in my case, I'm a Scorpio. I'm November 18 and 95. And some people say, like Tarot.com says for Scorpios, hey, you might get wedding bells by the time of your next birthday or something, like by November or December. That's the kind of interesting stuff that happens around here. That I think, that, it doesn't sound so far-fetched, but I'm just so used to bizarre nowadays that this is just another normal day. It's another normal day in the Royan household and at home base. So what can I say? What can I say? But either way, this is actually not the last program that I have intended to upload this year. Later today, I will also be uploading the, what is it? Yeah, the music video for Cait Fairbanks versus various artists, Healing Echoes. Yes, the titular album track has its own MV, and you already have it if you downloaded the album. So, you know, that'll be a good swan song for the year of sorts. Wishfully, YouTube doesn't give us a content ID claim and globally block the video like they did with Cait Fairbanks versus Black Box. Everybody's hiding in the same place. But we'll see what happens. Either way, though, get ready. Pack up your bags. Ready your coat and sweater. Hell just froze over. It's time for the 2019 season, and I can't be happier. Either way, until the time comes, I'm freelance entertainer Roya Rockwood. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your year. I'll probably enjoy watching the Three Stooges marathon for the 12th time. Oh my goodness! Wow. Wow, I mean, I've been watching this ever since Dan Andelman, Dave, and Michael Andelman started doing it back in 2006. So, it'll be interesting. If you want to watch it here in the Boston region, just go to WSBK or UPN 30. Oh, sorry, My Network TV 38. I'm so used to still calling it UPN. Old habits don't change. Either way, I hope y'all enjoy the rest of the year, and for anybody that's suffering, hold on to hope. Nothing is over. It's only just beginning. With that said, I hope that you've enjoyed this program. Welcome to the modern existence.